we can't go back, as this gentleman said here. And quite a few of you are not familiar with the Hayti community. And we basically started this project because we saw Hayti as a microcosm of Black America. This is something that has happened not only in Hayti, but all around the United States. We're not advocating that integration was bad. It just had devastating effects on the Black community. And without the community, it put our kids into jeopardy. When I grew up, I walked home every single day, 2 miles from my elementary school. I was 6 years old, as along with all the other kids in the community. How many of you would let your kids today walk 2 miles at 6 years old? It's because the community was a protection for the people that lived within. You didn't only have your mother and father in the community at that time. You had the whole community that mothered and fathered you.
That's right.
So, right now we are, as African Americans in this country, an economic force. We spend $6.5 billion into the economic community of this country. We're only 13% of the population. So, what we're trying to do, or hoping that the film will do, is open a dialogue, as we're having here, and try to figure a way to take that economic force that we have and help ourselves. Because we, even being a $6.5 billion spending force, as you saw the numbers, we own nothing. Nothing.
In comparison.
Right.
Right.
So, as the gentleman back here said, how many acres of land in 1950 did Black Americans own?
500,000 acres.
How much do we own now?
Less than 40,000.
So basically, we have to figure how to get back to supporting ourselves, spending with ourselves. This is not saying that we want Black power to go back to segregation. We don't want to do that, because we have opportunities that the integration gave us. But then there were things that segregation helped keep safe. And we have to figure a way to take those two things and make the best out of it. So that is what we are trying to do with this film. We're not trying to give you a history lesson about Hayti. Hayti is only an example of the bigger picture.
Don't live in that neighborhood anymore. So what made it work back then was that it was not economically segregated. You had the whole range of community, and you could walk 2 miles because on every block, there was somebody that you knew that was a great citizen or a teacher or somebody you could count on.
But they all look
Very
like
good point.
They all look like us.
Very
And
good
that is the point. It's about infrastructure.
Mhm.
We had a viable infrastructure, and it was allowed to dissipate. And so all we're concerned about now is putting that infrastructure back in place. And as far as education is concerned, we simply need to devise a curriculum of inclusion
Right.
that includes all of our history, all of our contribution. But the main vehicle is infrastructure back in place.
Very good point. Yes, sir.
What I'm going to make of the film is that it's called, what's the name of the film?
Hayti, the heritage, the legacy of Black America.
The session is looking back to move forward. I see it's more emphasis on the looking back than the moving forward. If I was a college basketball player, I would love to go back and play when we didn't have a three-point line, right? But the game has changed. Now I have to adapt my team to play within the rules of the game. Now the three-point line is there. So as a coach now, the rules are not going to change. How do I assimilate black folk to be successful in the rules that are now put in place?
Do you know what? Can I answer that? History has proven, though, that the rules do change. And if we want to use basketball as a metaphor or analogy or what have you, Wilt Chamberlain was 7'1" tall. And he was killing everybody in basketball, so they changed the lane. And they changed the rule based on his ability to play the game. And that is what keeps happening to us. You see, and that's a problem. So if we don't have a good sense or understanding of who we are, then we're never going to be in the game.
Once we find out who we are,
We're a long way from finding out who we are when a young black male in the city of Durham or any other urban area can look at his brother on the ground after he shot him 15 times and just kill him. And it's no thoughts, no, that's just a dog, that's just an animal, and he looks like me. Then we have a problem up here. We have a psychological problem. So we have to fix that. When the guy in Cleveland can go out on the street and take prostitutes and just kill them, people who look like his mother and his sister, and with no remorse, there's a problem. He doesn't know who he is. What happened to him? So that, but I take your point, but I don't think we know who we are. Yes, sir.
The reason we have no plan for the future is because we want to overlook a great wrong in our past that has never been corrected. That great wrong is reformation. People say they don't believe in the Holocaust, but Germany is still paying.
That's right.
Still paying. We haven't lost our minds, nor our sense of who we are. We just don't have the financial means to support ourselves in such a way that we can be proud of ourselves. Many of us are lacking it for something. I know I am. Like I said, I got the 48, but I don't have the track. I mean, the reason that stops any forward momentum is the fact that someone is going to get up and say, you did us wrong. Every person that can trace their history back for 80 years or so and found out that they were part of a slave family, they need to be compensated. Reparations. Well, if there's no reparation, how can we plan for the future? We don't make enough. We don't own enough anymore to borrow any money. So where shall it come from? The church was our central focus. The preachers taught us how to vote, how to read, when to come out, when to go vote, what your child should be studying, or maybe what we need in the community. We no longer look at our work as being equal to anybody else's. The computer has helped us, but it has hurt us also. Because it starts with the fundamental belief that everyone is worth something. When I look at young black males, they do not treat their women the way that they should be treated. Well, why is that? Because he feels like he doesn't have or possess the capability or the finances to run a family.
One of the things that I look at in terms of history is this. We have too many young people out here that feel like they're disorientated. They don't have a family network. They don't have that. So I live as I live today, and that's all I'm concerned about, because I have nothing to fall back on past because nobody told me, and the future looks bleak. So I'm going to do what I need to do today to survive the way I need to.